which is a think tank out at UNCC. And we're doing a project where we're gonna draw attention to the creeks of Charlotte. Because if you want to get kind of deep into the environmental science, they're really important to water quality. But a lot of people don't pay them much attention. That's reason number one. Reason number two is that they're everywhere. And when you start talking to people about the creeks, you realize that you're learning the story of the neighborhoods of Charlotte and the people of Charlotte. It's not just about water, it's about people and interactions and neighborhoods that came together and neighborhoods that were kept apart by the creeks. So part of what we're going to do is we're getting a lot of oral histories from a lot of people from around the city. But obviously people that live near important creeks and Cherry is just right, throw a rock practically and hit Little Sugar Creek. So what we're here today is just to hear you guys reminisce about what it was like growing up. Did you swim in the creek? Did you wade in the creek? Did you, Mr. Patton said no, you swim, everybody swam over on that other little tributary, sorry, stuck my hand up for the camera. And I actually was talking to a gentleman named Ron Hare, who grew up in Cherry, moved away, and he said folks used to go swim behind the Mint Museum because it was deeper over in Briar Creek.
Yeah, Briar Creek, I used to do that.
And I've heard rumors of an alligator in the creek.
Yeah,
And would love to hear the alligator
I
story.
don't know anything about that alligator in the creek.
I did.
I saw him when it was in the one time.
I wouldn't have seen it.
Yeah, remember Jim Coleman?
Oh, yeah.
Jim Coleman, we were swimming, well, they were swimming, I'm walking. I always loved to throw rocks and stuff, and I told him, I said, we were swimming right just before we come out from back the street, on this side. And when we crossed over, the fence, separated us down, but we're fairly near. And I seen this thing in the water, and I said, it's an alligator. He said, oh, girl, you know ain't no alligator out here. What's wrong with you? I said, okay, y'all keep on swimming here. I was piling me some rocks. I'm going to kill whatever this coming. Then we made it. Then Joe Coleman was swimming towards us, and he happened to look up, and he just screamed, oh, alligator. And I started throwing, and I said, we're going to catch it. No, we didn't know the thing could kill us. So we couldn't get over the fence. The next morning, the fact that this man had cut him out down Sugar Creek, had him hanging up with a picture. I said, see there, I could have been in the paper. Mama said, no, you could have been dead.
Well, I never got in that water over there, in Sugar Creek, because a lot of that water had cow droppings in it, and also wastewater from the cleaners, Snow White cleaners down there, so it fed into that creek also. So I never did fool around there, but the New Creek back down here off of, and then Waco Street there. We used to go down there, and we had a deep section in it. Some of the boys, they learned to swim in, and like I said, I never learned to swim, but I used to wade in that water. And it was pretty much water that drained off of rain and this, that, and the other, but it was pretty clear.
Yeah, that's down on the other side of the Jane, down in the Jane.
Yeah, back behind Brown Willis. In fact, that hole that we swam in was directly behind on there in Brown Willis.
That's the deep water, they call it. My brother and them, I could never swim either, but they.
I want to make a statement. I moved over here, I was from Third Ward where the diocese of Porterfield is. And I moved here when I was 11 years old. And I had never seen a playground before. And a lot of kids, I didn't know about how they play together because I had never seen that. I shot marbles, pitched horseshoes. So when we were on the truck coming and I passed this street down here with the playground, I looked and saw all those kids out there. It's in the summer. And I said, what is this? It's like I was going to heaven. I never seen nothing like that. It just excited me and I fell in love with this place. I didn't ever want to leave it. And that's how Cherry I got excited with. And the next year they had a carnival on the playground. We were out there and this girl who lived up the street, I married her. She came out there and wanted me to take up in the Ferris wheel. And Fast wheel is 15 cents. I said, I ain't taking that in no fast wheel. I ain't spending my money on that man, y'all know. And, so I didn't take it. So she said, I'm gonna catch you one of these days. And she pointed, and we got married. They called me. Yeah, she called me. And then going to school, I went to the school down here. We graduated from 7th grade. Then I went to 2nd ward, and we had to go across the creek. You had to walk across the creek, either on the rocks or go up there and walk on a pipe. And then when the creek get too high, we had to walk from Sharon to Elizabeth Avenue, Trade Street, and go up there to go around and come down McDowell Street to go to school. That's the only way we could go.
Is that how everybody did it?
Yeah, everybody lived over here had to do that. Yeah, they had no buses.
After rain.
Yeah, after a hard rain.
Yeah, the
See,
water be
the
up.
one, there
Yeah.
wasn't no
See,
bridge.
if the
between,
creek
I
was
guess,
kinda
Moorhead.
high,
Creek would be-
and you can't walk that creek too good because it's slippery. But then a lot of times if it's low and you didn't want to walk further down the creek on the rocks, you could coon the creek. You know what that is?
Coon the pipe.
Getting on there, sliding on the creek, and going across. Then go to school.
Yeah, a lot of us, it's cool the pipe, you get on and slide across.
Yeah,
Slide across
And those
it.
that were bold enough, they would walk across.
Yeah, walk across.
I was never quite bold enough, I was cool.
But a lot of them fell in.
Yeah, yeah.
A lot of them fell in.
Do you guys remember that?
We did do that. There was a bridge when I grew up.
Oh,
We came through.
you had a bridge?
Yeah, we had
a
that.
bridge. We had a bridge that we
There was some planks. You could hit a
Yeah,
car
the
one.
bridge came along later.
Yeah.
I got in on the bridge later on, before the bridge, you know.
Do you remember what year the bridge came?
They had a swinging bridge down there in the 30s. Down
Yeah.
on the North part of the
Well,
creek.
the
And
bridge was in my backyard.
Yeah.
The Goldens had the only house
In the-
on that side, on the west side of Cecil Street.
Yeah.
And right behind us was Sugar Creek. I waded in Sugar Creek
We used-
and all the way out to Greertown, to the big creek. And we had a swinging bridge back there. When you get on it, it bounce, if you play on it, it'll bounce. And when it rained, the water get about that high from it, and the school kids like to make it slap the water. And that was dangerous.
Do you guys remember this? I've heard several times now about kids throwing a cat in the water and the bridge fell and they all fell
That was,
in.
Yeah.
that was in
I remember.
1939, that was before I got over here. And I think about 9 or 10, 12 people got drowned.
Yeah, they had too many kids on it that day, and they were just piling on it, and they was making it slap the water.
Was that the bridge?
Yes,
Yeah.
Oh.
they called it a swinging bridge.
They had
Well,
ropes
nobody
on
never
it.
got drowned
Uh-huh.
that day. That he told me about it, said one of his sons
No,
got drowned.
kid.
And
Yeah.
then
What about 8 or
the
9?
bridge broke, is
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, it
Yeah,
broke,
broke.
had too many kids
Was
on
it
it.
high water?
Oh,
And the
yeah.
water was up, they were making it slap the water, making that sound, and they were laughing and giggling and playing, and it broke.
Oh,
So you said that was in your backyard?
Yeah,
So
that was-
tell me where it was, because I don't know where Cecil Street is.
You know where King's Drive?
King's
Yeah.
Drive.
That's where, it was Cecil Street then.
Oh,
It
okay.
Really?
wasn't- it
Okay.
wasn't cut-
That's
it
where
wasn't
that's
cut
where my
through the
house,
way
that's
they-
where our house was
Yeah.
Where
at,
armies and all
down
that
there,
is.
where Charlestown Mall is
The
now.
part of your house in the pasture.
That belonged to
Yeah.
Alvin Home,
Yeah.
Thomason Orphanage. That was a pastor there, a big old
Street.
field.
Cecil
It was-
Street-
With one
Cecil
house
Street-
sitting there, that was our house. All around us was cows and horses and things, all day long, every day.
Yeah, like I was saying, they
Corn and-
they lived in the cow pasture,
Okay.
but it was
Yeah.
fenced in, you know, where they lived. But his granddad worked for the
Thompson.
orphanage. So see, King's Drive was not there. King's Drive came along back in the
It
sixties.
I remember when they cut it.
Folk Street, from Folk Street back down.
Yeah, it
Oh,
was
that was
Cecil
Cecil.
Street.
Yeah, after they broke that swinging bridge, they put a wooden bridge up that you could drive a car.
Yeah.
One car could go across it, and it made it so steady and made a little dirt road. But before the swinging bridge broke, it wasn't nothing but a walking path.
Yeah.
Down to the bridge, on it, on up to school.
About 3 or 4 feet.
And then after they broke the swinging bridge, they come back with a wooden bridge like that's with 8 by 8 up under it to hold it steady enough for a car to go across.
did you guys use that then to go across for school when they built
Yeah.
that?
Did that
Yeah.
for many years.
Many years.
Now, is that about where Independence crosses
That's where,
now?
well, when I came on.
What's the Baxter Street out here?
Yeah.
Baxter Street, take it right on down to the bridge, right on to Brooklyn.
Okay.
You had Pearl Street Playground on that other side.
Right, Pearl Street, once you cross the creek, you end up on Pearl Street Playground, round up.
So that bridge must have been about where, well, I'm
The
trying to think.
bridge is.
But,
Where the bridge on Baxter Street was until they redid the
No,
intersection.
the bridge in the same, it's in the same spot.
Because they moved the bridge.
No,
when
they
they
moved,
did
yeah,
that.
they moved the bridge
They
down.
moved it about half.
Oh,
The bridge would be up about
Yeah.
where Baxter Street
Yeah.
Where
runs.
Baxter
Yeah.
came.
It was where the old Baxter Street
Mhm.
crossing
So
was.
they moved it over because it was straight down. I remember when they cut the mall, that was, oh,
That's
one
been
of the best
over
times.
59.
When they cut that mall through there, we said, well, we're gonna have a mall.
That was the first one.
Yeah.
Right now, Cecil Street, there's only one little block now.
Oh, where is
Yeah.
it?
There's only one little block.
Remember
Yeah.
Mr.
And
Gaines
all
has
them
the
three-
library?
Oh, yeah.
Right in the big clock.
I know where Cecil Street is.
Yeah.
Like
Right
that.
there.
That's
It's
where-
a little
Right
tiny
out
street.
Baxter.
Yeah, that's where Cecil Street is.
They cut it off.
And
And they
where,
cut it off.
where King's Drive is.
Yeah.
King's Drive was cut through, it wasn't called King's Drive, then it was called Baldwin Circle.
Oh.
It was, cut through from Independence down, it goes on, King's Drive, came from Independence down, down through there.
Cause I know we sit up in the hill with your nieces, Carol and them, who sit up on, I call it the Red Dirt Hill. Mama know where I've been, cause I know we had to sit on that hill watching the men work, but they cut it through there, cause we know we could have a street eventually. We sit up there, day I go home, I be just a red. We sit up there every day, we could go down there, slip down there, cause they didn't lie down there. And when they cut it through, that creek, it was something about that bridge that I think our children, people in Brooklyn, we won't ever forget, cause
No, they won't
we
forget.
went to Second, the ones that went to Second Water, whoever they was going, to the House of Prayer, different places, churches over there. When we would have to go to Brooklyn, but when we came back and we walked over that bridge, and we had to run over that bridge, we still strong. We were back in chair, we were home.
Trying to
We
get
didn't
back
have no
across.
fear.
Trying to get back across before it got night.
We didn't have no fear. You just, once you come on this side of the
Carried the
bridge.
stigma for a long time.
Yes, sir. We-
Well, it was a long time before they had that, well, even after you put the bridge up, they had, the Hoffman had their farm out there,
Yeah.
and you got to come through the cornfield.
Yeah.
Walking through there, and I think, somebody was a security guard, I don't think your granddaddy was.
No, they had a man from Brooklyn.
Somebody over there was
Yeah,
a
he
security
walked.
guard, we were scared of him.
At night,
You better not try to go to that thing.
yeah, they.
Ron Hare was telling me about how he used to throw rocks at the Brooklyn kids across the.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's why you tried to get back across before they came out.
We had a kind of a rivalry
Yes.
thing, that.
Different sections, that's all over Charlotte.
At night, they weren't allowed to cheer, and, we got to sneak over to Brooklyn, and we went to the movie, we had to go to Brooklyn, to go to the movie, go to Betty for the Grand over there, and we had somewhat of a rivalry, but then when they had to start coming over here, they go to Morgan down here for the 7th grade. Myers Street didn't go to the 7th grade time, so they sent a lot of kids from Brooklyn over here to go to Morgan, and we had our little.
So is the creek like a
Yeah.
territory thing?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was your
Oh, yeah.
boundary.
Yeah.
That was your boundary.
That was about,
You passed
Unless
that
you go
creek, hey.
up 4th Street, they go around.
And it was nice, because
But
everybody had to
then,
go.
they
Huh?
You didn't have guards, did you, or anything like that?
Oh,
Okay.
Rocks, we didn't have to buy no guns.
the
Yeah,
teachers,
you
the
had
teachers
your
at
rocks.
Morgan School didn't even have cars back then.
No, guards,
They walk.
guards, like people, like, would watch the creek to see if y'all came across.
Oh, no, no,
Okay,
no,
okay.
They didn't
So
have
is
no
this
cars.
like the 30s and the 40s? What decades are we talking?
We're talking in the
40s and 50s.
40s and 50s.
Go back to the 40s and 50s.
You were still
Oh,
in
that
the
was
sixties.
long
I
time, what,
went,
59?
I finished Morgan, I went over to
Regular
Second.
bridge out, when they built the mall, and.
Yeah, the mall was built in the late
You know, when they built Charlotte Town Mall.
The
they
mall
did
was
the whole
built
bridge
in
up.
late
Yeah, they bought that land from Auburn on.
Yeah.
The mall covered up part of that
They
creek.
built the
Yeah.
park
It
on
built
top
a slab on
of
top of
it.
it.
Yeah, they
What'd you
built,
say? Oh, I know, they put it right on top
Where
of
the
it.
park
right on
is.
top of
The
it.
parking lot is under
They put a
there.
great big pipe up under it for the cows to come through to get over
When
their
they
path.
came Independence.
They had a pipe.
Run all the way up under,
In the creek, under the slab.
It
When
run up under
Independence was
that.
cut through, that's when they put the pipe.
Auburn on went up on the hill, the pipe was up under Independence, and then the cows come out over in
Graves. and-
the pasture and in our backyard.
So the cows went through the pipe?
Yeah, oh, yeah,
When they made Independence.
yeah,
Well, so
yeah.
after they put the parking lot on top of the creek, did anybody ever go play like under the culvert and then?
Some of them did. Not us, but a few little kids.
No.
I got a nephew, got a bad cut out there under there. He was going up, but not, don't see son. He was slipping, I don't know what they seen under that bridge right there where the service station was. And, but that stopped it. He got a bad cut in his face under there. No, he hadn't been under there. And it used to run over into the mall before they built, you know, one day it flooded. Learned to shop and everything, before the water down there.
Remember that?
Yeah, it rained so hard, so they did a little patching and got all that fixed, but.
Because after that, when I went to Second Ward, they had by Bush, remember Bush grocery store, it was up there? We had a tunnel that we could cross when it was Independence Boulevard, all the way that way. We had a tunnel that we could cross over instead of going across Independence. You go in that tunnel.
It's like near McDowell Street.
Yeah.
And right by McDowell Street, that's where Bush, where they're putting up, whatever that new thing they're putting up there now, on the left side, going from here to the left. That's exactly, we had that tunnel going on
It
all
would
the
have been
time.
right along, like
Where
where
Mile
the
Street
aquatic
School,
center
where the
is now,
aquatic
right
center.
where the aquatic center is now, that's where the
The-
underground tunnel was. Well,
It was really where Bush, where that's his station, and store was
So
there.
it's near Mile Street.
Yeah, came out on back that Mile Street,
We did.
and it was scary though, especially if
It
the
was
boys were
scary.
running there, you know,
Yeah,
they're
it was
kind of
scary.
scared, because, you know, the cars already, going on there, and they were saying, oh, something happened, used to be running like something, boy, they were scared, oh, my, under there.
But then there were a lot of things on McDowell Street that you had to go to a lot of times, because I went to St. Paul. I went to Pleasant Hill a lot of times, for vacation Bible school and all that, and Maris Tabernacle also went. But then I went to St. Paul, my mom had joined St. Paul, so we had to go that way. Then, once they got to Second Ward, you had to go to Second Ward.
And Brooklyn has, McDowell has so many things.
Yes, the House of Prayer was over there.
We
That
had
was
the
New
Savoy.
York.
Oh, yeah,
We had
it
the
sure
Savoy
was.
Theater, then we had the Lincoln Theater up on
And the
Third
grill over
Street.
there and all that stuff.
El Chico, all those
Chico,
places.
El Chico's, yeah. And they were open late at night, so
What was El Chico's?
it was like
A
a
restaurant.
restaurant. Restaurant, It's all down.
We had a lot of stuff.
McDowell
Dollar
Street.
Tree.
McDowell was very.
All of the black businesses was in Brooklyn.
Right.
The
On
doctors,
McDowell
the
Street.
lawyers, barbers, theaters, cafes, whatever. It
The
was in
funeral
Brooklyn.
homes, the funeral homes.
Yeah,
McDowell was just.
All the big businesses in there.
Right there.
And during the wartime, when the soldiers would get on leave for a weekend, they come to Charlotte and be in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
That's where they hung out all
First and
the time.
Second Street.
Yeah. Be jam-packed with soldiers.
But that was a hopping place.
Huh?
I thought it was a
It
hopping
was, it was.
All night long.
Yeah.
We had a few things over here, but we was like, we call us like on the quiet side of the
Cheer.
Oh, yeah.
Cheer was
But
quiet.
you know, we had the
Cheer.
cafe, and we had the snack bar, and we had the 3-4 grocery stores, we had to say.
But now you probably too young when Miss Minnie Chair had that little dancing hall.
I remember Miss Cherry
You
dance
remember?
hall, yeah, I remember.
You were too young to go in
Yeah, but
there.
I couldn't go in
So
there.
she was in
Yeah, I could go
But
in
now,
there.
at that particular time, the young teenagers could go in there, we danced, had piccolo and whatnot. And I was in there one, I was about 12 or 13 years old. And it was just crowded, I couldn't dance, but I was just in the dancing hall. And Mr. Albert, what was his name? Pope, Albert Pope. He was standing in the door, a little narrow door by that one, the standard door. And I said, Mr. Albert, let me out, because I couldn't come out unless he let me out. He stepped right out, and all of a sudden, bam, he got shot. And we didn't know what it was at the time. He started running to everybody how we thought the kid from Brooklyn had shot. So when I found out Mr. Albert had gotten killed.
Wow.
And I told him how close I was. If he'd have moved over and I stepped out, I would have got shot.
Where was the dance hall?
It was right there off of Baxter Street. Just down from the school, walking
Yeah,
school,
right there.
on Baxter
Right
Street.
there, right there.
It's on, you're facing Cherry Street,
Yeah.
but the side of it is on Baxter Street.
What about any like major flooding? Do you guys remember anything like that?
What?
Major flooding.
Major flooding.
Major flooding.
Not
Yeah.
this was the off and on, but not.
Not
up
over
in-
here.
Not in the
Not
streets
here.
and
Only
houses,
street,
no.
only thing got flooded out with the streets down there, and they still do that one, Little Sugar Creek. And, you know, you can't go
Mhm.
through there, it's not real safe.
Okay.
Well, houses they went
We
through.
wanted the
Yeah,
rain,
right
I
through the
mean,
street.
you know, the rain, that's in fill the creeks up, that's what
Yeah.
we wanted the rain, you know, and we walked the creeks and.
The rain was better for the creeks?
Yeah, it would flush the, you know, fill the creeks up a little bit more, you know, than they were.
I've seen that.
Did you guys
creek-
have-
I've seen that creek water come all the way up to Cecil Street.
Oh.
All the way under, come to Pastor.
Oh, yeah.
Did it smell a lot during the summer, the creek?
No,
Not really?
They wasn't as polluted as it is now, I mean, you know, there was runoff, like I say, from the, cleaners down there.
Yeah, you had that.
Like I said, the creek down here,
Mhm.
it didn't smell at all, you know.
You're talking about the little creek over on Waco Street or the big Little Sugar Creek?
The little
Sugar
creek
Creek.
down here in Waco, it fed into
Yeah.
sugar, in sugar.
And see, the
in
water,
sugar.
that's what I can figure out. Now, all the water comes and go down by the hospital.
Was,
But when I was young, I seemed like the water was going back to the.
no, where the school is, you remember, it was a little creek to run, where the school, run up under,
Yeah.
where the cafeteria is now, a little,
Yeah,
a
creek.
little branch.
Goes along
ran-
there.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, Muslim school.
Muslim.
And, you know, in fact, it ran on across
Yeah.
there, where the dance
It
hall
was
was.
just a small something going
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Is that creek still there or did it get piped in?
I'm sure the water still run under there, but it's underground.
And you know,
now,
right behind the church, you know, where from Luther Street, you know, all the way down through our house, we couldn't go out when it rained in the backyard because it would just flood out.
Yeah.
And then they put the big, well, they put these big, I would say, it was so long, big cement pipes.
Yeah.
The
Big,
drain.
you know,
Yeah.
and they put them from the street,
That's a,
from on this side of Baxter, on through on our house, you know, but not my house, but not like one of them houses, it went out of their house. And they put it out to the end of Santa Will and them house.
So did you guys like it better when it was all piped in, or do you like it better when it's just
No, we
open?
wanted them to pack, cause see, when it was open, you couldn't go out,
Yeah,
it just
wow.
flooded everything in the back. Your yard was just full of water, but they fixed it, you know, we lived with it a long time like that, and the city finally came in. But all the creeks ran down to go out to the little creeks run out to Sugar
yeah,
Creek.
little water creeks, I mean, I don't call them creeks, little drainage.
Mhm.
ditches,
And you know where,
and they-
Howard Johnson them stayed, water between Steve
Oh,
Pride and them,
yeah.
oh, they be out there trying to swim.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Trying to swim between the houses, you know,
Yeah.
don't go by the pipe, that water in there. It was just, it was fun to kids, not dangerous.
Back in those days, kids didn't have all of the.
The television and the electronics.
We played outside.
We
all
played
the time.
outside all
We
the
played
time.
outside all the time.
Until it
I
got
mean,
nighttime.
Rainwater didn't bother us a bit, you know, we played in rain and rainwater like, you know.
Except when it's storming.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
We had to sit down when it was like that, no
Be
television, had to
quiet.
sit there.
It had no television.
It had no TV.
And when my dad, first little television, I think we got the first one on Baxter Street, got a little television, I think that, the black and white television, we had every child on Baxter Street at the house.
The first time I saw TV, it was in 1947. It used to be a hardware store on 4th and Cherry Street. I don't remember that being a hardware store or not. And I had been working downtown and got off the bus. And I saw a light in the store and I looked, a little old film about 8 by 6 by 8 or something. I looked, and I saw them, I stood there at least an hour just watching that show.
Yeah.
I said, this is amazing. And you can see people on, just looking at them like that. I just couldn't believe it. That's the first time I saw TV.
Yeah, my dad bought us one.
Huh?
My dad, he bought us one,
Mm.
and, on June Whitfield, you know, Big Wheel, they would all come to the house. My daddy had like Wednesday night fight, and they would have peanuts and so,
Did you have a pay thing?
No, but.
You know the Mongols had that pay,
They, my
Television,
dad
television.
bought his out, but we had to pay for it, we had the refrigerator to make ice, we had to put the quarters in to make some ice.
Oh,
but-
okay.
But he just bought us a little television, a small one.
Edna, They said that they over there around the cafe, they had one there too, you know.
Yeah, back in the, back down
They pay a quarter,
there.
yeah.
Put a quarter in there.
Yeah, a quarter.
For
I know we
15
had,
minutes.
Yeah.
I know we had to pay for that ice, cause we had the Iceman first.
You put a quarter in the
Yeah, I remember
refrigerator?
the
Yeah.
Yeah, quarter and watch television for 15
And,
minutes.
and you know, I sit and think now, sometimes I think about it, I said, we had that refrigerator, and Mr. Abraham come from Brooklyn, and when my daddy would buy us the 100-pound ice, you was doing good, cause it was 50 pounds. In summer, you try to get 100 pound, you had your little ice pick.
Ship it
And
away.
you chip it, your meat stayed on it, you may have for your Kool-Aid or your ice water, whatever. But you know, and that meat, they never spoiled, and wrapped in that little paper, in that little.
Once you keep it closed, it's gonna stay.
No, it stays. Now you can't shoot anything, it's spoiled. How you trying to get enough? They wrap it up in that paper, and you just put it up on
Yeah,
that,
brown paper.
on that, in that brown paper, put it up on that ice, and you chip around it. Don't mess with that meat ice, and don't, no blood on it. But we had to use that, but we got along, we made it.
Oh, I remember my mom talking about the ice box.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
The
that's
ice
what it
box.
was.
Yeah. I was about grown when we first got our first refrigerator, you know, now, it amazed me to see the light come on.
Yeah, that was amazing.
You know,
Yeah.
it was amazing. It sounds comical now, you know, but I mean, things like that, you know, it's
It's
just,
amazing to us.
just to look back over the years, you know, and see how far we
Now,
have come.
this thing, it's hard to picture, you living in a house, you don't have no electricity, you don't have any water, you don't have no bathroom. Now, we lived in that kind of condition.
So did any of y'all have indoor plumbing or no?
No, they might have, when I was living there.
When you were there, what did you do for water then? Where'd you go to get it?
They had, well, outside, you had to go get your water.
From a spigot?
Yeah,
Okay.
from the spigot, and the toilet was out the same way, everybody used that in the complex.
So
Okay.
it's like one neighborhood
Yeah.
spigot and one
Mhm.
neighborhood pump, yeah.
They
Well,
had-
now, you said you moved from Third Ward.
Yes,
So did y'all ever go down to Irwin Creek? Because there's that, that creek on the other side of Third Ward.
I'm trying to think of where Irwin Creek is.
Irvin Creek, it was right there, below,
Below
just
Sycamore.
before.
Oh, that's over there
77,
in Hardin,
beside
is
77.
that over in there Hardin?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah, no, we didn't go over there then.
Really?
Mm-mm.
How come?
That's too
We didn't allow, go allowed over
You can
there.
go that far.
You had to stay
Why
on
weren't
your
you? Oh, you
territory.
weren't allowed over there?
No, see, Charlotte was segregated at the time.
Yeah.
Oh.
You might go up trying to pay your bills, and you come right on back, come to the water department, pay your water bill, and that's about it. You
So
go.
far, you know, you just can go in and not, especially, after dark.
And Cress's was uptown, I had the best hot dogs, you could buy that hot dog, but you couldn't stand in there.
No,
and eat
you
it.
couldn't eat it in there.
You had to go outside, and there you go, that water, you had this sign.
Colored water.
You ever seen it in the black water?
Pardon?
Have you ever seen it in black water?
Only a Blackwater River.
That's
That's what the sign
The
says.
sign says colored water, white water, and I was sometimes at the water,
Yeah, so
I
you know, they lick the
was
I don't
sign.
drink colored water.
I'm old enough, I remember seeing
I
that
never
sign,
drank,
so
I
was
never
like,
drank
yeah.
out of those fountains. Never did it, drink out
I
of
didn't
fountains.
either.
I mean, as much as I wanted water, I
Me
would
too.
never
That's
drink
why
out.
But you know what I did, we was uptown, and I looked, I said, color and white. And Bruce said, you can't, I said, I'm gonna drink some of this water, I wanna know how this water
It
tastes.
was different, yeah.
And I pumped the water, and I drank out the white fountain, the people coming down the street. I said, this water not even cold. I said, our water's cold. I said, and he just started drinking out my water. He said, you gonna get locked up. I said, well, they're gonna have to lock me up. I said, cause I don't want it anymore. I said, that water's hot. And our water wasn't even so cold, and from then on, it didn't never bother me, because Mom said, don't you do that, I said, cause it will lock you up. But I had to taste that water. I was just sitting there, and when I was young, I was going to see. And I could run, so they didn't catch me.
Well, even then, it was all influence.
Yeah.
But believe it or not,
Oh, yeah.
like I say, there were limitations to what, black people could do at the time, but I don't think anyone could be any happier than black people were.
This community anyway,
Yeah,
in
yeah.
Cherry, we were close knit.
We were close knit family.
Yeah.
Everyone knew everyone, and
Dudes played with
everyone,
each other.
all of our adults, they were yes ma'am and no sir, yes ma'am and no sir. I used to throw the afternoon paper, Charlotte News. I threw the afternoon paper, and I threw Luther Street, Cherry Street, and all the way up Cherry to Fourth Street.
If we
And
didn't
I
anything
used to
to
have to
Brian.
throw the paper, and if anyone was sitting on the porch, you spoke to them. You know, how you doing, Mr. So-and-so, Mr. So-and-so, how you doing, Mr. So-and-so? And I would be so tired, not from throwing the paper, but from nodding my head, how you doing, how you doing? And you had to do it, because if you didn't, I never shall forget, a
Being
man,
disrespectful.
man told my mother, say, Miss Odessa says, CL act like he's grown now. I said, what you mean? He said, he didn't speak to me this afternoon, you know. And my mother was liking to whip me to death. You know, I thought she was gonna whip me to death. You know, I got a good lashing for that. And I got to the point where I would wait till, you know, folks start eating their dinner around 5:30, 6 o'clock. And I'd wait 5:30 before I started to speak. Because I couldn't speak to so many people. Yeah, I still speak to some, you know. But I got to speak to so many.
Yeah.
But it was just that way. People had to, you were courteous to folk, and folk were courteous to you. And everybody was just like your parents. If they saw you doing something, they would chastise you, and if they chastised you, they would spank you by chance, and told your parents you got another spanking when you got home. Well, it was just that way, and, you know, we respected that.
And
All
no
the
problem.
grown people in Cherry knew everybody's kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you didn't promise the older person that you was gonna do something for them. I learned that at an early age. That's why right to the day, I don't like to promise people a thing unless I know I can do it. This lady, she loved snow. Miss Mary Poland. And I tell her, I'm gonna go for you. And you get to play and think about her no more. You know, just having a good time. And Mama would have my plate ready. And I go to sit down and she knock on the door. And my mother's name Jane. She said, Jane, where's Cyrus? Mama said, she been leave. You tell her to get up. I want my snuff right now. She would get up, and Mama would take my plate and sit it on the stove and make me go. And I had to go to 4th Street, all the stores up here, Jimmy and Miss Hobart, and then they had it all.
Well, where'd you go on
I
4th
go out
Street?
to the store at the little AMP, whatever
The
the
AMP.
store,
Yeah,
sitting right there.
Yeah, that
I would
is.
have to walk all the way down there. If they didn't have, like, you know, the AMP was up here on Morehead, I have to go find her that snuff, all those stores, and I come back, she would give me 2 pennies. A nickel, and I told the man when they told her in the house every week, I said, you could dig down in there, y'all probably find some more corn, because I wouldn't take it in the house, I'd throw it out in the house, I didn't want it. That's all she would give me, but I loved them ladies. And I did it for years, you know, but I never promised them nothing else, you know, I just go to the store and do what they say, you know. Because you had to stop eating, you had to do what they say.
Well, like I say, this was a really close knit neighborhood.
They still talk about that.
Oh,
I never talk about it also. I never seen a neighborhood where all y'all get along so good.
Get along, something happened, people were
Everybody
there.
knew about it.
And I admired this man here, Brother Patton. When I was a little girl, he ain't that much older than me, but you see him coming, and he would always be going to church. And I would sit there and I'd watch
Had to
him.
go.
He'd come down there, you know.
My mother done, you had to
Yeah,
go.
but he go, brother, he was,
Yeah,
you
that's
know,
right.
and then he would sing, you know, he was faithful. He could sing and still could sing, but it was just something about him, you know, that there was just something about that man, and you know, you got, and then I thought Mr. Taylor, Baybro, you know, these are men that I knew all my life, always have treated me decent. And you can't say that about too many people. But everybody that's been in church that I knew of, and half of them men out there on that park, some of them out there, I never had a problem. They always treated me real nice.
Do you think that the kids that are living in Cherry today are having anything like that same experience?
Well, times have changed now in the whole world.
Oh,
No, it won't be
You
like
got
that.
some don't want
There's
that.
a new breed in Cherry now.
Yes, it is.
Well, that's all in the whole world.
When any of these people here 15 years ago, 20 years ago,
Yeah.
these days coming from everywhere now.
And I have about 10 in the tall low section up there. They call me grandmama, half of them all know the name, but they just start calling me grandmama. So, you know, I love them. I don't care where they see me in the store, they can be with their mamas. Their mamas look around, I guess they say, well, who's this lady? And tell their mothers, you know, because half of them have got fathers, you know, maybe 6, 7 kids, but I'm their grandmama.
Oh,
But the changes, no, these kids wouldn't take, they don't give people respect. We had to respect our elders, and we had to speak like you said. And,
Yeah, you
hey,
had to respect your.
you had to
you had
speak,
to.
and if
That
they
was-
say something, I
that
used to say,
was,
please don't
it's-
tell. And I was bad about throwing rocks and running, Don't ever tell Miss Nan Willard, she cut me across my back, I have a whip, I said, please be gone before I go home, cause the
You
mama
didn't run
said,
into
"What?"
Billy, did you?
Just, well, I wasn't too scared of it, but, you know, I was scared of it, but not too scared of it. 'Cause he kinda, you know, I guess by knowing my brother, Robert Lee, and them, I didn't have too much of trouble, I know. But they, almost everyone of them treated me real nice. Real nice. I had to go along with it. And I talk about it. I talk about the olives and all of them, you know, fattening and the little stove we had on down here on, by y'all see, that little.
See, back in the day, Baldwin Avenue was the only paved street over here. Now, Torrance Street was paved down to Luther Street. Lillington was paved down to Luther Street. But all other streets were just, they bring a scraper through the street, and then they pour old tar over the street, you know, and then as soon as the rain came, you know, it just washed those over. They had number of potholes and stuff, you know. And it was that way for a number of years, and I guess it was back in, right along in the late 40s, that they came through and started graveling the road. I remember when Joe Walcott knocked him out, that the streets had just recently been paved, and I tore my foot up running out on that tough gravel that night. So I know it was somewhere in the late 40s that they came through and paved the street. Before that, it was just, you know, just no sidewalks.
You mentioned Joe Lewis.
Yeah.
I got a picture I had made with Joe Lewis in a golf tournament in Washington D.C. in the early 50s.
That's all we had, the fights. We had to watch the fights in the baseball game.
Oh.
And the Brooklyn Dodgers was my team, and I cried when they moved out they traded to the Los Angeles.
Back then, there wasn't but two teams, the Dodgers and the Yankees. And they would take charge on winning, back and forth.
And you know, and we, and every Wednesday, and fight night.
Yeah.
Joe
That's Blue Ribbon, fight night. That's
Fight
Blue
night,
Ribbon.
and we just had a good time.
Oh, man, Richard used to allow us to come down there and watch the fights on Wednesday night.
Wouldn't miss that.
We had a school.
They would let us watch wrestling on Saturday and the fights on Wednesday night. That's Blue Ribbon fights came on every Wednesday night, and we would go down there and watch them. Very few people had television at the time. I mean, the first one we got was in 1951. We got our first television. But most TVs back in the day, they probably about 50. Yeah. 51 they started coming out with a 17 or 19 inch television. 51.
When you got a 19 inch, you do
Black and
good.
white, no color.
19 inch television.
Black and white. And you know, I kept up my black and white television. I kept that television to maybe about what? Maybe 10 years ago. I don't know.
19 years ago.
No, to about 10 years. I had that black and white television. I kept it. The television. I bought my mom and when I paid $119. I bought them $119 a piece. And it was black and white. And it was just something about it. I couldn't get rid of it. And my husband bought this big color television. I've been there watching my black and white television. I said, that's all right. This is my television.
So it worked all those many years?
It was still working.
That's amazing.
It is.
It was still working.
They used to make things to last.
Oh, they last. Things last, you know.
So when they built Independence, did that displace people? Did they end up having to buy out people's houses?
It didn't misplace people. They moved houses. Now. They moved houses.
Yeah, they moved
It
houses.
was in the way they just moved them
Moved
over.
it over.
Yeah, they moved houses just like they were. And that was amazing to see, see them moving a house, just getting it up on a truck and carrying it and sitting it down
Sitting
someplace
back down,
else.
building it back up.
And what about when they built the mall? Did they have to move any houses, or did
Well,
they
I
just put that all
wasn't
on
really
the
good.
ordinance?
No.
That mall was
One
built
day,
in Calcutta.
one house.
Your house?
Mall was built in Calcutta.
Did your house get moved?
Push one house down.
Yeah, they was in.
They leveled our house.
They leveled it?
In the
Yes,
mall.
because we the only one on that side of the street.
So did they pay you for it?
Yes, they paid dearly.
So where'd you live?
Across town on the west
Moved
side.
over to the side? Yeah. Well, so a lot of y'all left Cherry, although
I left in 55 and well, I was in the military, 55, and I was done 55 to 59. When I came back, the mall was built, just getting rid of the mall when I came back.
So you stayed in Cherry.
Pardon me?
You stayed in Cherry, except for your time.
Oh, yeah, I stayed in
You
Cherry until I was
You went over
18.
the west side.
We're on the west side.
And I stayed over here until 1967, and I moved across town on the south side of
So
town.
you moved in 67?
I stayed right up here on Luther Street after I got married to a little old house, a two-room house. Living room and your little kitchen, they built the bathroom on the back. Tia, you remember that house?
Yeah, I remember that
Little
house. Yeah, oh, yeah.
I had it looking so neat, that's when I got my first TV in 1951. So, my wife's daddy would get up in the morning and come make a fire in the house. I didn't know nothing about making no fires, but I used to bring in wood and coal in my house. But he'd get up and make a fire for his daughter now. And so, he'd make that fire. I said, no, I'm gonna have to leave this place.
Did he live with y'all, or did he just come
No,
over?
no, this is a separate house.
He just came over?
Yeah, he lived right across.
He wanted to make sure his
Yeah,
Yeah, his daughter gets some meat, yeah. And his grandbaby, because we had a baby then. And, so they were building the South Side home, that's out on South Trine. And I said, well, I need to get it, because I had a son born too, so I had 2 kids in 1 bedroom. And, so I put that, we moved down there in that's when I left here in 1952. When the guy down there reached down, turned the button, you get heat. I said, oh man, that's going to the Waldorf Astoria Hotel. It was just so nice to go to the project. You go into the project, but you're moving up. That's what life was.
Jumping on up.
And that's where you had your triplets, was out there south side.
So did y'all's children swim in the creeks too? Or
No,
just-
No.
By that time, no?
They weren't allowed in the creeks.
Okay.
If they did, they didn't let one.
Why didn't you guys let them in the creek?
Well, it was a different life there when they got there.
Different.
I wasn't allowed, but my brother was 4 years old and they had to take care of me. And I wasn't supposed to be down there, but see, when he would be playing, I'ma jump that creek, and Ed and Mama knew he had me down there, 'cause I would jump the creek, but I would step back in the water, my little socks would be wet. And I'd be trying to come home, not let her see. She
So
said, "Come here."
was it like you were worried about them being safe, or like
Oh,
because
no,
the water was
it-
dirty,
it-
or?
It was a combination of both. I mean, we're looking at a 20-year span now. You talk about, when our kids, we looking at a 20-year
yeah.
span. So they had more to occupy their time than we had. We made everything we had to play with. We made it. We chopped up the boards and stuff and made all those schools and stuff. And by that time, they come along, they were getting store-bought toys and
Take
stuff.
a
So-
skate, and they would have what y'all take
Oh,
that
yeah,
skate,
we
my brother
take
did
a
skate.
take a
loose
skate and
make
make
them
us
scooter.
a scooter,
And
the
what they
go-kart.
call now.
don't let us find 4 big
Skateboard.
wheels and all of the same size. We made us a go-kart and
Now during the Christmas, the relatives, the wedding and whoever else was renting these house, brought us a great big basket of fruit.
did.
Y'all get that during the
Yeah,
Christmas?
old man.
Right out here in that, up in the circle.
But we rented from Brown and Glenn. Most folks over here was rented from John and
John,
Wells.
yeah.
But we rented from
Yeah, I went to
Brown and
Brown and
Glenn.
Glenn.
And every Christmas, he would bring us a big basket of fruit, for Christmas.
And we appreciate it.
Oh, yeah.
So y'all were, when you were growing up, you were renting instead of
There you go,
owning?
tell them, I don't know what y'all talking about, we didn't pay no rent.
It wasn't just a few of them, there been a few down on Tar Street and the Mungo. There weren't too many property owners
No,
out
it
there.
wasn't.
We had, up on Luther Street, there was, Bud Foster,
yeah,
Barnes, Reeves, Miss
Yeah, they are.
Laura, Mr. Richie.
It's good.